Hello. Welcome to the Learn English Lab. Today's podcast, Advanced English Listening Practice Podcast. Topic name is 25 plus C2 level vocabulary on sports.
And welcome. Yeah, today we're really doing a deep dive. Our aim is to give you, the advanced English learner, some really high-level sports vocabulary. These are terms that can genuinely lift your analysis right up to C2 level.
Right. It's not just about knowing the words, is it? It's about understanding how to use them effectively in, sophisticated discussions about sports.
Exactly. We're looking at the implications, the nuances, how these terms fit into critical commentary, not just basic definitions.
So if you feel like you're stuck using the same old words for, complex competitions, this should really help you get that precision you're after. We're aiming for eloquent commentary, mixing that specific jargon with a bit of flair.
Moving beyond just saying good game to actually analyzing why it was good, using the right language, that's the championship level we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. We've got quite a list, 28 terms, right?
That's right, 28 advanced terms. And to make sense of it all, we've grouped them into 3 areas. First, we'll look at some niche disciplines, specialized sports and their physical demands.
Okay.
Second, the whole hierarchy of competition rankings, roles, achievements.
Got it. The who and when of winning.
You could say that, yeah. And finally, we'll dig into specific game actions, key events, scoring terms, and importantly, some ethical vocabulary too.
Okay, sounds like a solid plan. Let's jump straight into that first section, then the specialized sports and what makes them unique.
All right, first up, we have a sport that looks maybe deceptively simple. Curling.
Ah, curling. The one with the stones and the sweeping.
That's the one. Fundamentally, it's a winter game. Teams slide these heavy, round, flat stones. They weigh about 40 pounds across ice towards a target, which is called the house.
Right, the house. But just calling it an ice sliding sport or a stone gliding game really doesn't capture it, does it? I mean, there's a lot more going on.
Oh, absolutely. It's primarily a rink strategy contest. That's the key phrase. Beginners, and even many spectators, often underestimate the sheer amount of, thinking involved. The strategy is intense.
So how does the specific vocabulary reflect that complexity? You mentioned strategy.
Well, you have the skip, who is essentially the team captain standing in the house, directing the shots. They often hold the hammer. That's the advantage of throwing the last stone in an end, which is like an inning in baseball. Huge pressure.
And the sweeping, it looks frantic, but it's not just random, is it?
Not at all. That's precision sweeping. It's crucial. By sweeping hard in front of the moving stone, they create a thin layer of water, reducing friction. This can make the stone travel further or, more subtly, affect its curved path.
So the sweepers can actually steer the stone in a way.
In a very precise way, yes. They fundamentally alter its trajectory based on the skip's commands. It's physics and teamwork in action.
That really changes how you watch it. You're not just seeing a stone slide. You're seeing calculations, communication, pressure management, especially with that last stone, the hammer.
Definitely. And even though it might seem niche, Olympic curling pulls in huge global audiences. The strategic depth makes it really compelling television and a great topic for discussion using this kind of vocabulary.
Okay, let's move from ice to grass or turf. Lacrosse.
Right, lacrosse. This is a field game played with these distinctive long-handled sticks that have a net or pocket at the end. Players use them to throw, carry, and catch a small, hard rubber ball.
It's often called a stickball game, but you mentioned a more specific term.
Yes, cradle sport. That term cradle is central to understanding lacrosse.
Like cradle, what does that refer to?
Cradling is the technique players use to keep the ball secure in the stick's net while running, often at high speed, and while dodging defenders. It involves this constant, subtle, rotational movement of the wrist and arm.
So it requires incredible agility and hand-eye coordination then.
Absolutely. Extreme agility, speed, endurance, and that very specific cradling skill. It looks fluid, but it takes years to master, especially under defensive pressure.
And there's a historical angle here too, isn't there?
A very important one. We really need to acknowledge its indigenous origins. Lacrosse comes from Native American communities in North America, where it was known sometimes as the creator's game.
Right. It wasn't just a game. It had cultural and spiritual significance.
Indeed. It was sometimes used for settling disputes or preparing warriors, understanding that heritage, how it influences modern rules, the field layout, even the cultural feel of the sport adds essential depth.
So using a term like cradle sport, Connects us not just to the technique, but implicitly to that whole history.
It does.
Wow.
And today, it's evolved into a very serious field net contest. The level of play, especially in U.S. colleges where scholarships are a big deal, is incredibly high. Fierce competition.
Okay, one more in this group. Floorball. This one might be less familiar to some listeners.
Possibly, yes. Floorball is basically an indoor team sport. It looks a lot like indoor hockey or ice hockey, but it's played with lightweight plastic sticks and a light perforated plastic ball, sometimes called uni hockey or indoor stick hockey.
Plastic sticks and a light ball. That must change the dynamics quite a bit compared to ice hockey.
Completely. The gameplay dynamics are all about speed and agility. Because the equipment is so light, you see incredibly quick passes, fast footwork. There's less emphasis on brute force or heavy checking, in fact. High sticking and rough physical contact are penalized.
So speed and coordination are paramount.
Yes, much more so than raw power. It makes the game very fast-paced and skillful in a different way.
And what about its reach? Is it popular?
It's hugely popular in schools, particularly in Europe, because it's so accessible. The equipment isn't expensive, the rules limit dangerous play, so it's great for physical education, suitable for all ages and genders.
So uni hockey reflects that sort of broad, accessible appeal.
I think so. And don't underestimate the competitive side. There are major international tournaments, especially involving Scandinavian and Central European countries, where the rivalries are quite intense. It has a serious global following. Hashtag B. High-intensity training and individual endurance.
All right, let's shift from team sports to maybe more individual high-intensity pursuits. CrossFit comes to mind immediately.
CrossFit, yes. A very well-known and sometimes controversial fitness approach. The definition is essentially a high-intensity fitness program that deliberately mixes exercises from different domains, weightlifting, gymnastics, cardiovascular work, and so on.
So it's not just one thing. It's often called a functional fitness regime, right? Or a hybrid workout system.
Those are good C2 terms for it, yes.
Oh.
The core application revolves around the WODs, the workouts of the day.
WODs, right. Can you elaborate on those?
Sure. WODs are typically structured, often timed workouts. Think formats like AMAP, as many rounds as possible in a set time, or RFT, rounds for time, completing a set amount of work as fast as possible. They are designed to push participants to their absolute physical and often mental limits.
And this is showcased in things like the CrossFit Games.
Exactly. Those global competitions test athletes across a huge range of tasks, aiming to find the fittest on earth based on this broad definition of fitness strength, speed, endurance, power, agility, all of it.
But you mentioned controversy. Using a term like hybrid workout system helps us analyze that too, doesn't it?
It does, because the controversy often centers on the potential for injury. Critics argue that the emphasis on high intensity and high repetitions, sometimes performed under fatigue, can compromise form and increase the risk of injuries, including serious ones like rhabdomyolysis.
Rhabdo, yeah, that's a serious concern.
It is. So the advanced discussion involves weighing the undeniable effectiveness for building broad fitness against those potential risks. It's about the culture of intensity versus the need for perfect, safe technique, especially under pressure. A nuanced analysis is key.
Okay. Moving from the gym, perhaps, to the great outdoors.
Yeah.
Vertically. Rappel.
Rappel, or, as it's also known, upsealing. Both terms refer to the act of descending a steep cliff, a slope, maybe even a building, in a controlled way using ropes and specialized friction devices. A cliff drop is a more informal term.
Most people will probably think of climbers using it to get down after reaching a summit.
That's a common use, yes. Recreational climbers rappel frequently after finishing a climb. But its application is much broader and often more critical than just sport.
How so?
Think about emergency services. Search and rescue teams often need to rappel into dangerous, inaccessible locations, down cliffs, into ravines, collapsed buildings to reach people. Military units use rappelling for insertions. It's a vital skill in high-stakes rescue and tactical operations.
So using abseiling maybe signals a deeper understanding of the technical skill involved, beyond just the recreational aspect.
I'd say so. It points towards the controlled, technical discipline required. Modern rappelling relies heavily on gear technology, things like belay devices, ATCs, grigris, specialized ropes, all designed to manage the descent safely and effectively. It's a serious technical skill. #C. Diverse competitive formats, from playground to Olympic.
Okay, let's look at a few different competitive formats now, maybe starting with something seemingly simple. Tetherball.
Tetherball, yes, brings back schoolyard memories for many. It's that outdoor game with a ball attached by a rope to a tall pole. Two players stand on opposite sides and hit the ball, trying to wrap the rope completely around the pole in their direction, sometimes called a pole ball game.
It sounds basic, but is there more to it at a competitive level?
Surprisingly, yes. While it's a classic playground activity, winning consistently requires more than just hitting hard. There's strategy involved using angles, topspin, understanding the momentum of the ball to control the wrap and counter the opponent's hits.
So quick reflexes and wrist technique actually matter.
They do. It's about controlling the rotation. And interestingly, while it's mostly informal fun, some communities actually have organized competitive tetherball leagues.
Really? Competitive leagues?
Yes. It's a great example of how even the simplest setup can evolve into a structured, competitive format if people are passionate about it.
Okay, moving to something significantly more demanding. The steeplechase.
Oh, the steeplechase. Now, this is a serious test. It's a race, typically in track and field or equestrianism, that requires competitors to clear various obstacles, solid barriers or fences, water jumps, ditches, hedges. Definitely an obstacle race.
And the demands are quite specific, aren't they? It's not just running.
Not at all. It tests both endurance. The races are typically around 3,000 meters in track and specialized agility and technique. For runners, clearing the barriers efficiently, especially the water jump, which has a barrier followed by a pit of water, takes immense skill and strength, particularly when fatigued late in the race.
So a great long-distance runner might not automatically be good at the steeplechase.
Correct. They need that extra dimension, the jumping ability, the core strength, the coordination to handle the obstacles without losing too much speed or rhythm. It requires very specific, multifaceted conditioning. The equestrian version, of course, adds the complexity of the horse-rider partnership over much larger, more challenging obstacles.
Right. Finally, in this section, regatta.
Regatta. This term refers to a sporting event focused on boat races. It usually involves a series of races for rowing boats, like shells or sailing boats. Think of it broadly as an aquatic contest.
These can range from small club events to huge international competitions, right?
Exactly. You have local club regattas all the way up to major events like the Henley Royal Regatta in the UK or Olympic sailing competitions.
And analyzing a regatta involves more than just the race itself.
Definitely. The logistics are often immense. Rowing crews train for months. Perfecting their synchronization timing is everything. Sailing teams need deep knowledge of wind, currents, and complex tactics like tacking and jibing effectively to gain advantages.
Tacking that's changing direction relative to the wind.
Yes, zigzagging upwind. It requires skill and strategic timing. And beyond the athletes, regattas are often big public events. You get large crowds lining the riverbanks or shores, significant economic activity for the host location. Discussing a regatta involves understanding the athletic demands, the strategy, and the surrounding spectacle.
Okay, that covers some unique sports and formats. Now let's shift focus to the language used for ranking, status, and achievement within competitions. This vocabulary is really key for talking about who's who in the world of sports. Hashtag tag A, ranking and roles.
Absolutely. We'll start with a fundamental term in tournament structures, seed.
Seed or seeding, like the top seed in a tennis tournament.
Precisely. A seed is a highly ranked player or team given a specific placement in the tournament bracket. They are the favorite athlete or top seed.
And the purpose of seeding isn't just ranking, it's strategic for the tournament organizers.
Yes. The main goal is usually to ensure fairness, to prevent the strongest competitors from eliminating each other in the early rounds. Ideally, it sets up a final between the top contenders.
But it also creates drama, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The whole idea of an upset.
Exactly. That's the flip side. Seeding creates expectation. The top seed carries that pressure, and when an underdog, a lower-seeded or unseeded player manages to beat them, it's a huge story. It can completely blow the bracket open. Analyzing the pressure on seeds and the potential for upsets is crucial C2 commentary.
Right. Next term, tight list.
Tight list. Simply put, it's someone who holds a championship title. A champion, a title holder.
But the word title list feels a bit more formal, maybe. It implies more than just winning once.
I think it does. Well, anyone who wins a title is technically a titleist. The term often carries a sense of established success, of reaching the pinnacle. Becoming a titleist usually requires years of dedicated effort.
And the discussion can go deeper, like the difference between a one-time champion and someone who builds a legacy.
Yes, we can analyze the reign of a titleist. Was it brief? Did they establish a dynasty, holding the title for a long period? These long-reigning titleists often gain significant influence in their sport, later on becoming mentors, coaches, commentators, shaping the future.
Okay. What about someone who's close, but not quite the champion yet?
That brings us to the contender. A contender is a person or team seen as having a strong, realistic chance of winning a championship. They are a challenger, an aspirant.
So they're in the mix. They're a threat.
Right. They usually aren't rookies. They've likely proven their ability, but they haven't secured that top spot yet. The narrative around a contender is often very compelling.
How so?
Well, you have the drama of an underdog suddenly emerging as a serious contender mid-season, shaking up the established order. Or the potential tragedy of a leading contender getting injured just before the championship match denied their shot. The journey of the contender is rich territory for analysis.
Makes sense. Then we have the absolute newcomers, the rookie.
Rookie, meaning someone in their very first year of professional competition. A newcomer, a novice in the pro ranks.
And the term highlights that transition from amateur to professional.
Yes, it emphasizes that jump. Rookies face immense pressure. They go through intense training camps, need to adapt quickly to the higher speed, skill, and physicality of the professional level. It's a steep learning curve.
But they can also make a big impact straight away.
Absolutely. When a rookie has an outstanding debut season, maybe exceeding all expectations, they often receive special recognition, like the Rookie of the Year award in many leagues. That can instantly launch a long and successful career.
Okay, and at the top of individual accolades within a season or tournament, there's the most valuable player, or MVP.
MVP. The player judged to be the most significant, the most useful to their team's success during a specific period. The star performer, the key contributor.
Now, the debate around MVP awards can get intense. What's the C2 angle here?
The discussion often revolves around the criteria. Is the MVP the player with the absolute best statistics? Or is it the player whose leadership, maybe intangible qualities, made the biggest difference to the team winning?
So stats versus impact.
Often, yes. The MVP is usually seen as the player who led the team, especially in crucial moments. The process of voting and selecting the MVP becomes a major storyline in itself, generating lots of analysis and debate in sports media, #B, defining the ultimate competition.
All right, let's look at terms defining some ultimate tests of athletic skill or classification. First, the decathlon.
The decathlon, an iconic event in track and field. It's a competition comprising 10 different events spanning running, jumping, and throwing, contested over 2 consecutive days. It's the definitive multi-sport challenge.
10 events in 2 days. It's designed to find the best all-around athlete, right?
Exactly. It crowns the world's greatest all-rounder. The mix of events requires incredible versatility. Day 1 typically focuses on speed and explosive power, 100 meters, long jump, shot put, high jump, 400 meters.
And day 2?
Day 2 tests technique, strength, and endurance, 110-meter hurdles, discus throw, pole vault, javelin throw, and finishing with the grueling 1,500 meters.
Wow, so you have to be good at almost everything.
You do. Consistency is key. A poor performance in just one event can completely ruin an athlete's overall score and chances. It's arguably the most demanding single contest in athletics due to that need for broad excellence.
Okay, moving from multi-event skill to specific categories, especially in combat sports. Welterweight.
Welterweight. This is a specific intermediate weight class found in sports like boxing, wrestling, and MMA. The exact weight limits vary slightly by sport, but it's generally around 63 to 67 kilogram or 140 to 147 pounds in boxing.
And why is knowing a specific weight class like welterweight important for C2 level discussion?
Because it's central to understanding a fighter's career strategy and the discipline involved. Fighters train incredibly hard to make weight for a specific class like welterweight. This involves rigorous dieting, training, and often difficult weight cuts right before the weigh-in.
That whole process of cutting weight is a big part of the sport itself.
A huge part, and it carries health risks. Also, analyzing a fighter's career often involves tracking their movement between weight classes. A champion might dominate welterweight and then decide to move up to challenge champions in heavier divisions. It's a common path for ambitious fighters.
Right, testing themselves across different divisions. Okay, last one this section. Pennant.
Pennant. This is primarily a flag, usually triangular, that symbolizes a championship or a significant achievement, especially in North American baseball, where winning your league or division is called clinching the pennant. It acts as a league emblem of success.
So it's more than just a flag. It's got strong symbolic meaning.
Very strong. Especially in baseball, the phrase pennant race refers to the exciting competition between teams trying to win their league title towards the end of the season.
And there's a ceremonial aspect too.
Yes. The act of raising the pennant at the team's home stadium at the start of the next season is a big celebration of the previous year's victory. Stadiums often display rows of pennants from past championship years, showcasing the team's history and legacy of competitive success. It connects the present team to past glories.
All right, we've talked about the sports, the athletes, the rankings. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. The specific vocabulary for key actions, moments, and importantly, the ethics involved in sports. #A, high-stakes events and locations.
Makes sense. Let's start with a term synonymous with high stakes. The playoff.
Playoffs, the competition after the regular season.
Right, exactly. It's the final match, or more often, a series of matches designed to determine the ultimate champion. It's the postseason, the elimination round.
And the whole atmosphere changes in the playoffs, doesn't it?
Completely. The intensity ramps up. Regular season success matters for seeding, but in the playoffs, it's often about momentum, handling pressure, and winning that specific game or series. Strategy shifts, it's win or go home.
This is where we often see those dramatic upsets. Maybe a team gets hot at the right time.
Precisely. A playoff series going the full distance, like 7 thrilling games, is peak sports drama. Underdogs can shine, narratives are built, legends are made. Analyzing playoff performance requires understanding that unique high-pressure environment.
Closely related to that excitement is the grandstand finish.
Ah, yes, a grandstand finish. This describes a really exciting, dramatic conclusion to a race or event, often unexpected, where competitors are neck and neck right at the end. Think photo finish or a nail-biter close.
Causes the crowd to leap to their feet, hence grandstand.
That's the idea. It's pure excitement for the spectators. But from an athlete's perspective, especially in endurance sports like running or cycling, achieving a grandstand finish often requires incredible tactical awareness.
How so?
They need to pace themselves perfectly throughout the race, conserving just enough energy for that final explosive sprint or surge to the finish line. It's not just about being fast, it's about timing that final effort perfectly.
Got it. Now, for achievements spanning multiple events, the Grand Slam.
Grand Slam. This term usually refers to winning all the most important championships within a particular sport in a single season or year. It's seen as the championship quartet in sports like tennis and golf.
So in tennis, that's the Australian Open, French Open, Wimbledon, and the U.S. Open.
Correct. Winning all 4 in the same calendar year is the ultimate achievement, incredibly rare, and instantly cements a player's legacy. In golf, it refers to winning the 4 major championships: the Masters, PGA Championship, U.S. Open, and the Open Championship.
Again, a pinnacle achievement, often a career-defining goal.
Absolutely. It signifies dominance across different surfaces, conditions, and intense pressure over a sustained period.
Okay, similar name, different sport. Grand Prix.
Grand Prix. This term typically refers to one race within a series of top-level international motorsport competitions, most famously Formula One car racing, but also used in motorcycle racing. It's a premier Formula event.
Formula One Grand Prix races are massive global events, aren't they?
Huge. They attract enormous trackside crowds, massive global television audiences. The technology involved in the cars is cutting edge. The speeds are incredible.
And the impact goes beyond the race itself.
Oh, definitely. Host cities, think Monaco, Silverstone, Singapore, experience significant economic impact from tourism and event hosting. Discussing a Grand Prix involves the race, the technology, the drivers, the teams, and the huge logistical and economic machines surrounding it.
All right, one more location-based term. This one very specific to American football. The gridiron.
The gridiron, yes, that's the common term for the American football field, named for its pattern of parallel lines marking the yards, resembling a cooking gridiron. It's the football field, the lined turf.
But gridiron carries a certain weight, doesn't it? More than just feel.
It does. It evokes the intensity, the toughness, the strategy of American football. The yard lines themselves are fundamental to the game's strategy concepts like field position, gaining first downs, the crucial red zone near the end zone.
So talking about battles on the gridiron instantly conveys that specific context and intensity.
Exactly. It's also culturally significant, tied to traditions like Thanksgiving Day football games. It's more than just a playing surface. It's a symbol of the sport itself. #B, specific striking and scoring mechanics.
Okay, let's zoom in on some specific actions, how players strike or score. Starting with hockey's slap shot.
The slap shot. A very recognizable and powerful shot in ice hockey. It involves a full backswing, then bringing the stick down forcefully, striking the ice slightly behind the puck, and following through. It's like a wind-up shot.
And the key is power and speed.
Immense power and speed. The technique actually involves flexing the stick against the ice, storing energy like a spring, which is then transferred to the puck. This makes the puck travel incredibly fast, often over 100 miles per hour.
Wow, so defensemen often use it from the blue line.
Yes, to get the puck through traffic towards the net quickly. Goalies need exceptional reflexes and courage to face down a slap shot. It's a signature power play in hockey.
Okay, another powerful shot, this time in racket sports. The smash.
The smash. This is a forceful overhead shot, hit downwards into the opponent's court. Common in tennis, badminton, volleyball. A crushing stroke or power hit.
Is it just about hitting it as hard as possible?
Power is important, but especially in sports like badminton, precision and angle are just as crucial. In tennis, it's often used to put away a high, short ball, a lob. In badminton, a good smash is steep and aimed well, making it very difficult to return. It requires great timing and wrist action, not just brute force. It's about ending the point decisively.
Right, force combined with finesse. Now, a scoring term from golf, birdie.
Birdie, a very desirable score in golf. It means completing a hole in one stroke less than its designated par score, an under par score for that hole.
Par is the expected number of strokes, so a birdie is one better than expected.
Correct. So on a par 4 hole, scoring a 3 is a birdie. Professional golfers aim to make as many birdies as possible. Stringing together birdies is key to shooting low scores and winning tournaments.
And it highlights the emotional side of golf, too.
Absolutely. There's the thrill of sinking a putt for birdie versus the agony of a near miss. Maybe the putt lips out or rims out, catching the edge of the hole but not dropping. Understanding birdie, par, bogey, 1 over par, eagle, 2 under par, is fundamental to following golf scoring. #CC, finesse, errors, and ethics. Okay, moving towards finesse, mistakes, and the critical area of ethics. Let's start with a finesse shot. The drop shot.
The drop shot, often seen in tennis or badminton.
Yes. It's a very softly hit shot, usually with backspin, that's intended to land just barely over the net and stop quickly, ideally catching the opponent off guard near the baseline. A net nubbler or short placement.
So its main weapon is deception.
Deception and surprise, yes. It's used to break the rhythm of an opponent who likes to play deep, forcing them to sprint forward suddenly. It requires incredible touch and disguise from the player hitting it.
And countering it requires good anticipation.
Excellent anticipation and very quick footwork to get to the short ball before it bounces twice. It's a high-risk, high-reward shot that adds a layer of tactical variety.
Now, an error under pressure, particularly in tennis. The double fault.
The double fault, a painful error for tennis players. It occurs when a player fails to get either their first or their second serve legally into the correct service box. The result is an automatic loss of the point, a service error double.
So 2 mistakes in a row on the serve. It seems particularly costly psychologically.
Hugely costly. It's basically giving away a free point. A series of double faults in a match often indicates nerves or a loss of confidence. Players talk about getting the yips. The pressure on the second serve is immense because there's no margin for error, unlike the first serve where players often take more risks. Consistent serving is vital.
Okay, another type of error, common in sports like American football or rugby, the fumble.
Fumble. This is when a player who has possession and control of the ball loses it, they drop it, or fail to hold on to it properly. It's a mishandle and usually results in a turnover.
Turnover meaning the other team gets the ball.
Yes, typically. When the ball is fumbled, it becomes live and either team can recover it. If the opposing team recovers, it's a turnover, which can dramatically swing the momentum of a game. It's a critical mistake.
Coaches must constantly drill techniques to avoid fumbles.
Constantly. Emphasizing things like covering ball with both arms, the high and tight technique. But errors happen. Analyzing a fumble involves looking at the immediate consequence, the turnover, but also how the player and team respond. Resilience after a fumble is a key characteristic of good teams.
Finally, and this is a really serious one, the ethical dimension.
To dope.
Yes, a crucial term. To dope means to administer or take performance-enhancing drugs or substances illicitly to gain an unfair advantage in competition. It's essentially to cheat pharmacologically, to enhance illicitly.
This strikes right at the heart of sports integrity, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It fundamentally undermines the principle of fair play and competition based on natural ability and training. When athletes are caught doping, the consequences are usually severe.
Like bans from competition. Yes, often long bans, sometimes even lifetime bans, stripping of medals or titles. It can destroy careers and reputations. The C2 level discussion here involves understanding the complex systems in place to combat doping. You have organizations like the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, setting standards, conducting tests for a vast range of banned substances, and enforcing regulations.
And the concept of strict liability is important here too.
Very important. Strict liability means that athletes are solely responsible for any banned substance found in their system, regardless of how it got there, whether intentional cheating, accidental contamination, or negligence. This puts a huge burden of vigilance on the athlete. Doping scandals can cause immense damage to the credibility and popularity of an entire sport. Hashtag tag outro the synthesis.
Wow, okay. That was quite a workout through some really advanced sports vocabulary. A truly comprehensive athletic array of terms we've covered.
We certainly did. We hit 28 key C2 terms, all the way from the specific strategies in curling and the all-round demands of the decathlon, right through to the scoring details like a birdie in golf and the critical ethical issue of to dope.
And the goal, as we said, was to give you the tools to analyze and discuss sports at a much higher level. Using these terms correctly should definitely score points in your advanced English conversations or writing.
It really elevates your discourse. You move from just describing events to actually analyzing them with precision and, well, a certain flair. It's about reaching that championship level in your language use.
So, to help you get there, here's a little challenge for you, the listener. A final provocative thought. Try putting this into practice right away.
Good idea. How about this? Think about a recent game or match you watched. Maybe it was an intense playoff game or a fast-paced Grand Prix.
Right. And try to describe a key moment or the final outcome using at least 3 of the C2 terms we discussed today.
Yeah. Was it a predictable win for the top seed, or did an underdog contender pull off an upset? Maybe a crucial fumble changed everything, or a perfectly executed drop shot won the final point.
Give it a try. See how using this vocabulary changes the way you talk about sports.
Challenge accepted, hopefully. And if this athletic array energized you and maybe sharpened your English skills a bit, we encourage you to like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel.